once again, welcome to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today in the house is Talents of the World. Representing that organization is Olga Lasovskaya, Director for that organization. Would you love to introduce your guests?
Thank you, Errol,
Sure.
so much for inviting us.
Sure.
And I'm very happy to be here among friends and colleagues. On my left, Omar Najmi, a tenor and finalist of regional finals in Newton. That's going to happen next Friday, November 16th. And we have a lovely soprano, Meredith Hansen, who is also a regional finalist in Newton. And we have a representative of the business community, Alexi Iliadis, the owner and the director of the restaurant here in Newton, Farm Grill Greek Restaurant.
Okay, nice. Well, my first question goes out to you, Olga. Tell me what is so much going on with the voice competition when it comes to Talents of the World, where we are at this point.
Thank you for this question, Errol. I'm very happy to speak about this because this is something that I'm very passionate about. And this is our second year that Talents of the World is doing an international voice competition. When we did our first competition last year, we had such wonderful response from among the singing community in the Boston area and also from the United States. And we even had a few applicants from overseas, which gave us an idea that we should probably go on and make it an international competition, which we did this year. And the stakes are higher, the cash prizes are higher. And we have regional finals in Newton next Friday. By the way, it's open to the public, so please come in and support our wonderful, wonderful finalists of highest caliber singers, wonderful singers. And then we have regional finals in New York and grand finals in New York with some of the most prestigious agents in place. From IMG artists, for example, Adam Cavagnaro, vice president, and that agency, for those of you who know a little bit about the opera business, they represented and represent still Renee Fleming and Kirita Kanawa, big legends. And we have wonderful judges here in Newton and in New York. And all of these finals are open to the public, so please come and enjoy beautiful singing and vote for your favorite artist because the artist will receive audience favorite prize at the grand finals.
Nice. Well, my first question goes out to you, Meredith. How do you feel being one of the regional finalists here in Newton of this voice competition?
Oh, I'm thrilled. It's so wonderful to be involved with a new endeavor. And as Olga mentioned, it's only the second year. And one of the things that I loved that really drew me to this competition was the fact that they were not necessarily just interested in us getting up there and singing 5 opera arias. Usually when you do an audition or a competition, it's give us a Handel and give us a Mozart and a German and a French and an English, and you have a strict list. You know, Olga and the committee had the idea to not only ask us to sing opera, but also things we could choose from art songs, or we could choose from Broadway, or the American Songbook. So to have the opportunity to explore some of those nice pieces of repertoire that I don't always, as a full-time opera singer, has just really filled me with a great amount of excitement and optimism and a little bit of nervousness, but mostly a lot of joy.
Okay, sure. And Omar, you're a tenor. How long have you been singing tenor, and how do you feel being a finalist also in this competition?
Well, okay, let me answer the first part of that first. I have not always been a tenor, so I have been a tenor since 2008, and before that I was a baritone, and that was during my undergraduate, and I made this switch up. This is news to all my friends here.
No idea.
So yeah, so for the past decade now, I have been a tenor performing professionally, and I am thrilled to be competing in the Talents of the World competition. I really wanted to enter last year, and it did not work with my performance schedule at the time, so I'm so thrilled that it's working out this year. I'm so thrilled that I was passed on to this round. And I'm going to echo what Meredith said, that I think the repertoire requirements of this competition are really interesting and exciting. There are a few pieces I have in my repertoire that are from the art song category or pieces from operettas that I've always really wanted to be able to offer in a competition setting because they're great showpieces, but I frequently haven't had the opportunity in competitions and auditions because, like you said, we have to offer opera arias generally.
Okay. And Alex, you're playing a very integral role in terms of supporting through sponsorship and so forth to this competition. Tell us a little bit about Farm Grill and Rotisserie, your Greek restaurant. What are some of the beautiful dishes you provide here for the residents in Newton? What's your long-term vision, etc.?
My long-term vision? Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Olga, thank you. Congratulations to you guys. The restaurant was built in 1996 by my father, and we've come a long way in the community. And honestly, our number one goal is to give back to the community. As much as we do with offering fresh Mediterranean Greek meals, we like to help out to the community and do sponsorships or donate to events and competitions like yours. For this event, we'll be donating trays of baklava and desserts so everyone can enjoy
for the
after.
Christmas ball. For the
Christmas ball, yes.
Which will have some of the finalists,
yes,
if they're available.
If they're available.
We'll be inviting them as guest artists.
I feel lucky to have some before and after. But yeah, we've been in business for 20 plus years, and we look to expand and serve the community, and especially with the catering. And we have this nutritional wellness program that we want to open people's eyes to understanding how the Mediterranean diet and the Greek diet can help people throughout their day. So helping the community by donating, sponsoring, we help them feel better about themselves for what they take and what they eat, so they can do better with their competitions and stay healthy. So
beautiful. Yeah. I wanted to add that Alex was one of the sponsors of our afternoon tea party, Hollywood style, which was a huge success in Newton, and people are still raving about the baklava. So thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And stay tuned for the next afternoon tea party, Broadway style and operetta style, also in May, coming to you.
Okay. So Olga, tell me, I mean, you are making so much contributions to the city of Newton in developing talent, promoting young people, giving them exposure that probably they never had before. What is your medium to long-term vision right now when it comes to the performing arts, not only here in Newton, but I believe as Director of Talent of the World, you have some global vision. Tell me a little bit about where you see yourself maybe in the next 5 years.
Well, Errol, it is very interesting how things are actually developing quite fast.
Yes.
Things that I could not imagine before, they're happening right now. For example, our winners of this competition, they will take part also as guest artists in Carnegie Hall Festival. So Talents of the World Festival at Carnegie Hall, and we have 3 performances there. One is a tribute to the legendary soprano Maria Callas. So we're really looking forward to hearing our sopranos and giving them Maria Callas Prize, among other prizes, and Enrico Caruso tribute to the wonderful tenor. So there will be 3 tenors. And by the way, one of the tenors recently switched from baritone, so he has your story. Remember his name, Arsen Sogomonyan. He's Armenian, and he a long time a Bolshoi theater soloist as a baritone. And as soon as he switched to tenor, all of the international community just went crazy for his voice. He's now signed up to sing at the Royal Opera House and at the Met, and he's signed on with Zemsky Green Agency, and so he's going to be one of our 3 tenors, and the other 2 is John Irvin, who's a wonderful tenor, and Raul Mello, Metropolitan Opera soloist. And so the third beautiful concert is a Christmas ball there at Carnegie, featuring a whole parade of beautiful voices. And so the vision that you're talking and asking me about is happening now. And of course, I see I'm being surrounded, I'm very blessed. I'm being surrounded by beautiful people, very, very high artists level. The level is beautiful this year, and we are very thrilled about it, and we want to make sure that this competition continues and serves these wonderful singers as a springboard to the career, financial. We want to help as much as possible, so we're still looking for sponsors. And if you want to, make your name known or make a name of your loved one known and name a prize in their name, we are open to the suggestions, because producing a competition is not easy.
Right.
So financial support is always very timely, and basically we just want to build on what we've already have in place, and all of this relationships connections that we're developing with some of the biggest people in the opera world, and we still want to stay connected to the local businesses, because we're all helping each other make this world a better place.
Okay. So do you see a continuation of the talent in which you will harness after your voice competition this year? Will there be provisions for there to go on?
Of course. Well, we can prove it, because last year we had beautiful applicants, and our first prize was won by Jun Han Choi, a baritone, and he was already featured twice at Carnegie Hall with us, Talents of the World. And Giovanni Formisano, whom I love, Italian tenor, and I love performing with him. He won the second place, and he was already singing. He sung twice at Carnegie, and after one of the performances, an agent came up to him and he signed him on. So he is also moving on in the world, and Talents of the World uses their artists to go on tour in Europe, and lots of different concerts in the United States. So we have a vision, we have artistic excellence and good kind of eye for talent. We just need the community to come together and help us just to keep going.
Okay. The question goes to Omar. You switched over to tenor, right?
I did.
And what really prompted you to do such? And do you find it more successful when you did that?
Second part is yes, absolutely.
Okay.
What prompted it was the advice of some of my mentors at the time that I was very fortunate to have, the chief of whom was my accompanist at the time, Claudia. And we would come out of my lessons that she would play for, and she just told me one day, I came out of there and she said, "You're a tenor." And I was like, yeah, right. But then I worked on it on my own a little bit, and then came into my voice lessons and announced to my teacher. Well, what also happened was I had auditioned for the choirs, and they also thought that they might want to place me on on the second tenor part. So I've been moving my way up since then. It was a long and arduous journey, but certainly has resulted in much success.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. So Meredith, how long were you actually singing opera, and what really went into your mind when you got involved in this voice competition? What really prompted you to enter this competition?
Well, to kind of build on what Olga just said, to address that first, as singers, it can be so difficult for us to get feedback when we sing, and usually the only feedback that we get for, say, an audition is whether or not we got the job, and we don't often know whether we didn't get the job because we were too tall, or we didn't sing well, or not tall enough, or there are so many factors. And so to have the opportunity to get in front of a renowned panel of judges and fellow singers, it was just extremely attractive to me. That was probably one of the biggest factors. I mean, certainly it's nice to have a chance to win a little bit of money, and that's wonderful, but to actually have that exposure was one of the most attractive things. In terms of how long I've been singing opera, my mother likes to tell people that I was singing before I was talking, and so I saw my first opera when I was 7. It was Bohème, and I was always really drawn to it, but I thought when I was in middle school and high school that I wanted to go more the Broadway route. I thought that I was that was what I was suited for, and I started taking voice lessons with Maureen Haig, who is still on the South Shore. And she kind of heard me out, and she says, okay, yeah, sure, we can work on some Broadway, but why don't you take a look at this classical piece as well? Okay. And I did, and after a couple lessons, she said, okay, listen, I really think this is where you're headed, and it just never occurred to me that that was where I could go. And so I, fast forward after grad school, I started doing auditions, and it was a couple of years before I was able to get going and really start singing full time. So in terms of how long I've been singing opera, I guess you could say for most of my life, okay, but full time for the past 9 or 10 years, as in that's pretty much all I do.
Okay. And how about tell us a little bit where you've sung?
Well, I've been very fortunate to have some wonderful opportunities, certainly locally with our beloved Boston Symphony Orchestra, Landmarks Orchestra with Boston Lyric Opera, which is how Omar and I know each other. I always joke that you kind of go where the jobs are. I have had a chance to be on the roster of the Metropolitan Opera for 4 out of the last 6 seasons, and that's been an incredible opportunity, and I've met some wonderful people through then. I've sung everywhere from there to Tallahassee to Cedar Rapids, and every place in between.
Nice.
So,
okay, nice. So, Alex, this question I want to ask you as a businessman. Do you see this? The performing arts in Newton is like annually. It goes right through the year, from one thing to the next. Almost everyone engaged in the performing arts in Newton. There's something or the other that fits that caliber. Now, do you see that have a positive impact on small businesses in Newton? Is it good for the economic growth of the city, performing arts?
Yes, 100%. It's very good for the community. It brings people from the outside towns and, up and down, the East Coast. I'm pretty sure that so many people come to Newton year in, year out to see all these performing arts and all these events, that it does help the local community and businesses, whether you're a restaurant or retail. It brings a lot of traffic, and it's good. It exposes us, and then it helps us. They expose us to the arts, so we get more involved with the community as much as they get involved with meeting us.
Okay, so would you encourage small businesses in Newton to give more support to the performing artists, that they can keep continuously growing?
Yeah, I believe in supporting everybody. My father and I, we always believe, in if you take care of somebody, they'll take care of you, and we believe in good karma. And throughout the years, we've always wanted to help the community and the performing arts and anybody that's looked for something, even the local, police and fire. So the more you give back to the community, the more it will grow the community, the stronger it gets, and it creates better economics for us too.
Okay, beautiful. And back to you, Olga. So we understood your vision clearly for young artists and what you're doing and so forth. How could you encourage businesses to get more involved? Are you going to create some form of incentive package that when they inject their financial resources or other means, that they will be able to somewhat have a drawback in some form or the other, that they can continuously give to the performing arts?
Yes, we actually have a very nice package in place. We offer a lot of interesting benefits to local businesses and big businesses to support us, because our concerts and our events are not only local, they're also global. We have performances coming up in New York, all over the world, in Europe and in Russia, in Ukraine, and now we're developing relationship with Latin America. So those businesses that have like a bigger reach, they can be exposed right away on several continents. For example, our competition includes a lot of international people, applicants, plus we have the festival at Carnegie Hall, so some businesses can right away, by making one donation, be exposed to 5 different events. But of course, I being a Newton resident myself, and this is my favorite city in the whole world. I myself am from Kiev, which is a beautiful, beautiful city in Ukraine, the capital. And I've lived in New York State, in smaller towns, which I loved. But Newton is definitely where I found my home. And so when I look at Newton, I look at it as my family, like big extended family. So I want to talk to the businesses and see what, because I know that they're struggling too. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not that you can come to the business and say, okay, give us, you know, $500 and we'll just put you in the program. It's more than that. You know, you have to develop a relationship, and you have to listen to what they need and what kind of exposure they would like, and then we definitely can benefit each other much more. And definitely what Alex said, the more you help each other, the more successful you are. I never, as a singer, I never actually looked at another soprano as a competition. So I invite different colleagues to do concerts together in the same voice type, and thinking the more people you help, you just create a bigger world of love and joy and peace, and that definitely gets back to you.
Right. You know, when we look around Newton, there's so much performing artists and so many different musical organizations, but they're somewhat fragmented, segmented. And do you think there's a way where all can come together under one umbrella and host like one big major event that can benefit everyone in the long run? Or
well, yes, Errol. The thing is, we've known each other for many years, and since then the Newton Arts Festival came about, and thank you to Linda Plout, who thought of this together with City Warren. The previous mayor, now Ruth Ann Fuller, is supporting this so much more, like the art scene. If you apply for grants, the local organizations are actually receiving more money than before, thanks to the Ruth Ann's administration. And definitely at the end of last year's Newton Festival, Arts Festival, we got all together and we think that it would be a wonderful idea to do a big event like you mentioned.
Right, yes. Since you touched on that, I just want to touch on it for a second. So basically though, what I was looking at is to see Newton as the heaven of performing arts in Massachusetts. And what our organization is looking to do is offer a professional award called the Newton Universal Legendary Awards, which is the Newlands Awards, right? So we want to put that in as of next year. We want to introduce that to Newton. So I think that may be a good way. Right. So I definitely want talents of the world in on this. I think we all will make a great team going forward together. But more importantly though, what would be, and we know that Ruth Ann is doing very well in terms of giving her initiative to the arts. Is there any word or advice you would like to say to her in continuation of supporting the arts and making it come to this world-class international level? Because I believe all the resources are right here in Newton as we speak. So all we have to do is capitalize on it. Is there anything you would want to probably say to her concerning that?
Ruth Ann, we love you and we are very grateful for everything you've done so far. And I agree with Errol, there's a lot of pieces that are already in place, and a lot of it is thanks to your administration that's supporting the arts. And what we need to do is sit down and discuss more consistently and have a committee. Even the Newton Arts Festival, I think it's going to start up again, and see what kind of ideas we come up with in order to have more specific goals, long-term and short-term goals.
Yes, because one of the things I've recognized that it has a strong contributing factor to the gross domestic product. With the amount of people that Newton can attract to come here to the city, it can generate a lot of finance.
Well, it's a fact,
and
yes.
its effect will trickle down to everyone.
A community
Right?
that has strong art
Yes.
scene, it's just a fact that the GDP is much higher. So.
Yes. Okay.
So we are doing a great job. You know, the sopranos, the tenors, the local businesses coming together and creating something very meaningful, because this life is not easy,
That's true.
and we need to help each other.
So, Alex, what advice would you have, and we're coming now to the last 3 minutes of the show, what advice would you want to give to entrepreneurs surrounding Newton and probably other cities that are close to Newton, in terms of injecting some form of finance or sponsorship to whether it's Olga's Talents of the World or any other organization to make sure this momentum consistently keep going on? Is there any word of advice you would like to give to those people?
My advice will definitely be to any local business to always give back. It's the best you can do.
Yes.
You know, when you satisfy people for what you do, you want to give back to them, and they will cherish it. And you know, building a strong community will build a better community and a better world. And especially like we were saying in Newton, like Olga was saying, it's just strong-willed town that, you know, the locals need to make sure they focus on themselves and on their community, so they can make every stage of the, you know, the process get better. We need a better world. We need better communities. So
Beautiful.
Newton, I think, is a good role model to what can get better to the rest of the country, especially in the state.
Beautiful. Meredith, I'll give you one of the last words. Is there anything you want to say pertaining to your success this far?
Well, you know, it's an ongoing process. That's all I can say. I'm very much a work in progress, and not unlike Newton, I suppose. And it's just really, it's not easy getting your way through life in any field, whether it is a small business, and in a sense, Omar and I are small business owners because we are responsible for our own milestones and so on and so forth. So it's just an ongoing process. But I guess the last thing I would say is, you know, when you have a dream, you can't walk away from it.
Beautiful.
And you just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Beautiful. Excellent. And Omar, is there anything you want to say for the last?
Or sing.
I would just love to say that I am so grateful for the Boston arts, the greater Boston arts and music community, that has made, I've made my home here. A lot of my colleagues moved to New York to do this, and I just think there's such a great close-knit community here. We work together, and it's really allowed me to have my emerging career.
Beautiful. And Olga, the final word go out to you.
I thought I was done. Well, I'm so happy that we have a chance to show to our Newton residents and to everybody in the area what we're doing, what we're about. So come on Friday, November 16th, and hear these beautiful singers and clap as loud as you can and scream bravo. We allow that.
Beautiful. And with that word, have a nice day. Bye-bye.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I'm Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.